The night was pitch black, and the road stretched out before me like a never-ending abyss. The only source of light was my car's feeble headlights, barely piercing the inky darkness. The engine hummed like a nervous heartbeat as I navigated the deserted highway, my hands gripping the steering wheel in a white-knuckled grip. As I drove deeper into the night, a thick fog began to creep in, wrapping itself around the car like a suffocating shroud. My visibility dropped to almost nothing, and the world beyond the windshield became an eerie, shifting landscape of shadows and mist. My heart raced as I strained to see any signs of the road ahead. The car's headlights flickered, casting eerie, dancing shadows on the fog. It felt as though I was driving through a ghostly realm, a place untouched by time and civilization. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the mist, standing in the middle of the road. Panic surged through me as I slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching in protest. My heart pounded in my chest as I came to a skidding halt just inches from the figure. My breath caught in my throat as the headlights revealed a ghostly silhouette. It was a woman, her pale face obscured by long, wet hair that clung to her like a shroud. Her eyes were empty, void of emotion, and her tattered dress swayed in the wind. She reached out a skeletal hand towards the car, her bony fingers scratching against the window with a chilling screech. I couldn't tear my eyes away from her, and a sense of dread washed over me. The woman's lips moved, but no sound came out. Her mouth opened wider and wider, impossibly wide, until it seemed like her jaw would dislocate. A guttural, otherworldly scream filled the car, causing me to cover my ears in agony. The woman's scream grew louder, piercing my eardrums, and I could feel the car vibrating with the intensity of the sound. My head throbbed, and I felt as though I were being pulled into a nightmarish abyss. Desperate to escape, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal and the tires screeched as the car lurched forward. The woman was left behind in the fog, her horrifying scream fading into the distance. But the dread lingered, and I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still out there, lurking in the shadows. As I continued to drive through the night, the fog seemed to grow thicker, closing in around me like a malevolent presence. The road became a winding maze of uncertainty, and I felt as though I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare. My headlights flickered again, and this time they went out completely, plunging me into total darkness. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone, using its feeble flashlight to guide me. But the darkness outside the car seemed to press in on all sides, and I could hear whispering voices, faint and sinister, echoing in the void. Suddenly, the car's interior was filled with blinding, crimson light. I looked up to see a pair of blood-red eyes staring at me from the rearview mirror. They were cold and malevolent, filled with a hunger that sent shivers down my spine. The eyes seemed to be getting closer, and I realized with horror that they were not alone. A chorus of disembodied voices filled the car, whispering in a language I couldn't understand. The voices grew louder and more insistent, and I felt a presence in the back seat, a presence that was not of this world. With a scream, I flung open the car door and stumbled out into the fog, leaving the car and its eerie occupants behind. I ran blindly through the night, the fog swallowing me whole, until I finally collapsed from exhaustion. When I awoke, the sun was shining, and the fog had lifted. I was alone on the side of the road, my car nowhere in sight. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night, but I know one thing for sure: I will never drive alone on a dark, foggy road again.